Energy. Where does it come from? How do we use it? Do all living things need it? How does energy relate to nutrition?
To begin our discussion on energy and how it relates to nutrition, we first need to review a little basic biology. All living things, plants and animals, need energy for biological functioning and to do work. The ultimate energy source for all life on Earth is the sun. But how do we capture and use this energy? Essentially, plants capture this energy from the sun in the process of photosynthesis. We then harvest this energy by consuming plants or consuming animals that eat plants. But how does photosynthesis capture the energy from the sun? To answer that question, we need to review the process of photosynthesis.
In photosynthesis, plants use the energy from the sun, the carbon dioxide from the air, and water, nitrogen, and minerals from the soil to produce organic molecules. The carbon dioxide from the air donates carbon and oxygen, while the water absorbed from the soil donates hydrogen. These molecules combine to form organic molecules, predominantly glucose, in the process of photosynthesis. The oxygen from the water in the soil is released into the air as a byproduct, providing the needed oxygen to support animal life. The energy from the sun is now stored in the chemical bonds of glucose. Photosynthesis is a remarkable process because it represents the link between the ultimate energy source for all life on Earth, the sun, and the chemical bond forms of energy required by all living things.
Now let's examine the process of photosynthesis within the plant cell. Photosynthesis occurs within the chloroplast, a small organelle unique to plant cells and some select microorganisms. The green chlorophyll pigments within the chloroplast capture the sun's energy and convert it to chemical energy in the light phase of photosynthesis. This phase also utilizes water absorbed by the plant and releases oxygen as a byproduct. In the dark phase, these energy compounds enter the Calvin cycle and are converted into organic compounds, predominantly glucose. This phase utilizes carbon dioxide from the air. The process of photosynthesis continues, creating more stored energy within the plant in the form of chemical bonds in glucose. Plants may combine these glucose molecules to form starch for storage.
Now let's take a closer look at a glucose molecule. Glucose is a type of carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are sugars consumed in the diet for energy and to support biological functions. We'll discuss carbohydrates in more detail in later lessons. A glucose molecule contains 6 carbon atoms, 12 hydrogen atoms, and 6 oxygen atoms. Now let's review what we've learned about the process of photosynthesis and create the formula for the synthesis of this glucose molecule. 6 molecules of carbon dioxide from the air combine with 6 molecules of water from the ground to form 6 molecules of oxygen, which is released into the air, and 1 molecule of glucose. The glucose generated from photosynthesis can be combined to form starch, a storage form of glucose. Plants can also break the carbon bonds, releasing the energy for use in growth, reproduction, and repair, or the synthesis of protein, fat, vitamins, and other phytochemicals.
We've learned that plants capture the sun's energy in the process of photosynthesis. In this process, plants convert light energy from the sun into the chemical bond form of energy in organic molecules. But how is this energy in plants converted into the energy necessary for biological functions and work in other living things? To answer that question, we need to review how plants are consumed and metabolized by animals and humans.
Plants are energy and nutrient sources for animals. For example, when cattle graze on grass, the plant matter is broken down by enzymes and microorganisms within the digestive tract. The cattle then convert the chemical energy in some of these nutrients to biological energy. This energy derived is used by the animal to fuel biological functions, such as reproduction and work. It also supplies energy and nutrients for the synthesis of proteins, such as muscle, or for the production of fat. The digestive process and the use of nutrients for energy also generates heat to maintain the cattle's body temperature. Finally, some of the nutrients and energy will be utilized for the production of milk.
Like cattle, humans consume plants to acquire energy and nutrients. We may also choose to consume the meat from animals or other food products from animals such as milk and eggs for energy and nutrients. Much like the case in our cattle example, our digestive system breaks down the food, releasing the energy and nutrients. Let's take a moment to examine how our digestive system works so that we may better understand how energy and nutrients are captured and utilized in the body.
The human digestive process begins in the mouth, where large pieces of food are broken down into smaller pieces and swallowed. This is known as ingestion. The swallowed food passes through the esophagus and into the stomach, where enzymes and acid break it down into smaller pieces. This is called digestion. The food then enters the duodenum of the small intestine, where enzymes and other digestive juices from the pancreas, gallbladder, and lining of the intestine facilitate the further breakdown of food to small molecular forms of protein, fat, carbohydrates, and other nutrients. These nutrients, resulting from the digestion of food, are then absorbed by intestinal cells and carried into the blood. Many of these organic nutrient compounds will be taken up by the liver for use, storage, or further processing before entering the general blood system for distribution to the peripheral tissues. Indigestible food products pass through the colon and rectum and are ultimately excreted in the feces.
As the various cells of the body receive the nutrients resulting from the digestion and absorption of the diet, the cells will further metabolize these nutrients depending on the biological needs of the particular cell. For example, if the cell is in need of energy, these organic compounds will enter pathways to produce new high-energy compounds that will fuel the cell's biological functions. The main high-energy compound produced in the cell is adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. Many of these energy-producing pathways require oxygen, which we take into the body when our lungs inhale. Byproducts of these metabolic pathways include carbon dioxide and water. The carbon dioxide is released when our lungs exhale. Some cells, not in immediate need of energy, may convert the nutrients to fat to be stored for later use. Other nutrients may be utilized in various other biological pathways or functions within the cell.
Now let's take a moment to review what we've learned about nutrition and energy. The sun is our ultimate energy source. Humans and most animals cannot directly harvest the energy from the sun for biological functions and work. We must rely on the food that we eat to supply us with this energy. First, plants convert the light energy from the sun into the chemical bond forms of energy in organic compounds, predominantly glucose, in the process of photosynthesis. Animals and humans harvest this energy by consuming plants. We may also choose to consume animals that eat plants or the products of animals. Our digestive system breaks down the food that we eat into small molecular nutrients. These nutrients are absorbed and distributed to all the cells of the body. In the cells, these nutrients may be converted to new, high-energy compounds, stored for later use, or utilized for other biological functions. Plants and animals are dependent upon one another and their environment for energy and survival. Together with their physical environment, plants and animals form ecosystems to support the transfer of energy and the maintenance of all life on Earth.
So, ultimately, the food that we eat is more than just something that satisfies our hunger and tastes good. Food is energy. This energy fuels the functions of our bodies and all the work and activities that we do. But what happens when we consume too much energy or too little energy? We'll answer these questions in our next lesson when we discuss energy balance.